the PAS, problem, agitate, solution, it's actually like calling that out. We don't want that. We would delete those lines. We would just kind of let the story tell itself. We don't need to call out, this is the problem. This is me agitating the problem.
This is how I'm lightly manipulating you into buying something.
People will get it.
Hey, party people, and welcome to Nicole Reacts, a show in which I, Nicole, react to online marketing gurus that I find on the internet. My qualifications for snark and commentary are that I've owned a marketing company for the last almost 16 years. In that time, having worked with hundreds of clients on marketing strategy and implementation. So I feel like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to marketing. If you like this content, I hope you consider liking the video, leaving your comments, and ideally subscribing. And if you want to see more content about me looking at online marketing gurus, you can check out the Nicole Reacts playlist on the Breaking Even Communications YouTube channel. Or if you go to breakingeveninc.com/blog, that's the blog section of my company website, you will be able to see all the Nicole Reacts videos there as well. So a topic that's of interest to marketing and non-marketing people alike is ChatGPT. And of course, people are wondering, Nicole, are you worried that ChatGPT is going to take your job? I'm not. Here's an example why. So for one of our clients, they're in Maine. So I was like, hey, can you come up with 50 quotes of people talking about the state of Maine? And it came up with a bunch of quotes that were all politicians. And I was like, oh. So then I asked it, what are some quotes about the state of Maine from non-politicians? I love Maine. It's very similar to where I grew up in Scotland. Gerard Butler. Really? Gerard Butler said that? No, he did not. It'll just make stuff up. But one of the things that you can do with ChatGPT is you can adjust the temperature of it. So on one end of the temperature spectrum is something that is more accurate but less human. And on the other end, it's something that is more human but less accurate. This is just one instance in which ChatGPT did me wrong on what I thought was a simple task, but it has been helpful for other things like drafting emails or generating ideas, but nothing obviously that involves facts because you would need to fact check it anyway. There was a bit of a sort of gold rush in online marketing content about how ChatGPT was going to make it so that you could do all your marketing without any help, probably from a marketing person like me. So today's video we're going to react to is something from Wes McDowell, and it is called Marketing Your Business with ChatGPT, Full Masterclass for Beginners. Pro tip, if you want to find trainings and you're just running out of stuff, type in the word marketing masterclass. I have found a whole new set of people. By the way, someday I hope to achieve the level of caucasity with which I could call a 22-minute training that I produce for YouTube a masterclass. Okay. But let's see. If he can show us how ChatGPT is going to do all of our marketing in 22 minutes, I am clearly in the wrong business. All right. If we need to see the screen better than we're seeing it now, I will change my size, but we'll start off at this aspect ratio.
Marketing your business is about to get a whole lot easier, faster, and more effective because in this full masterclass training, I'm going to show you how to create a complete start to finish marketing funnel using ChatGPT. This is seriously going to change everything.
Funnels and ChatGPT. I'm intrigued.
Allowing you to do more in less time and without having to go broke hiring experts to do it for you. This all comes down to being able to use
That's me. Somebody go broke with
this ChatGPT in the right way, using the exact right prompts and asking the best questions to get all the solid gold you need out of it, no matter your business or your marketing needs. Experts are calling this new skill prompt engineering, and it's the secret sauce of getting the most mileage out of ChatGPT. The businesses that ignore that part will quickly find themselves swimming in piles of mediocre marketing materials and getting zero business out of it. But the really smart entrepreneurs who get really good at knowing how to prompt the system will be unbeatable in their industries. So let's get good at the art of prompt engineering. We'll be using some really smart prompts to help us create all of our content across every major marketing category, and we're going to be going in the right.
So it's blurred, right? The 1, 2, 3 bullet points. So it's going to be content marketing, social media marketing, and email marketing. That's what I'm predicting is going to be
order so that we can build on our momentum as we go. So let's start out with content marketing first. It's my personal favorite marketing category because it's the one that helped me build my business the most. Ultimately, it's all about positioning you as the expert in your field through, blog articles or YouTube videos or even podcasts.
So content marketing has traditionally been used to talk about things you would produce of enough value that someone would give their email address to access. So maybe you have a 30-day class on improving your lung capacity, or maybe you have an ebook about getting over fear of public speaking. And so somebody would see that and be like, oh, that's cool. I want that. Give their email address, and then they would receive access to that particular piece of content after giving their email address. They would get it for free. But now content marketing is just this idea of producing typically long form content, and that content is out there and is attracting ideally your customer to you. The nature of content marketing has changed a little bit to a more broad definition.
The problem is, it's always been really time consuming coming up with all that content, especially when it's not your full time job to create it. But
It still takes a long time to produce content. I don't know what he's talking about. I've been doing it full time for almost 16 years now, and it would still take me hours to produce a long form piece of content of value, to be honest with you.
here's how ChatGPT can help. Where most people go wrong here is they just ask it to write a whole blog post out of nothing. Like, write a blog post about why you should hire a professional house cleaner, and what it's going to give you is pretty basic and pretty short. Nobody would want to read an article like this, and they certainly wouldn't get anything out of it, which means you wouldn't get anything out of it either.
Okay, I'll just say it. His level of editing is something I aspire to. The multiple camera angles, the interspersing of stock footage, and things like that. I hope one day to be a good enough video editor or make enough money to hire a good enough video editor so that my content can look slick like this, to be honest.
No Google rankings, no winning over the hearts of your prospects. It's pretty much just a waste. So we actually need to tackle this in 3 simple steps. Okay, so first things first, go ahead and download my free starter kit, which is going to have all of these prompts across all of these marketing categories. So you don't really have to take notes now. You'll just have it all written down. That's wesmcdowell.com/chatgpt. So I said we were going to do this in 3 steps. The first step is actually just to brainstorm topics. So here's how we would do that. We're just at chat.openai.com. And I'm just going to type in here, give me 20 unique article titles related to, let's say, childcare. If you're maybe you run a daycare center, but this goes for absolutely any kind of niche. So I'm just using this as an example related to childcare in a clickbait style. So let's see what it gives us. So see what they're generating here. These are all very intriguing and very clickable. That's why we asked for that, quote, clickbait style. It's not about being misleading. It's just about, let's come up with really intriguing titles that are going to get people actually excited enough to want to watch.
Okay.
And I should also say, we asked for article titles, but maybe you're going to be doing podcasts. Maybe you're going to be doing videos. It's really the same thing, but then you would just swap out, just say 20 video titles or 20 podcast titles. But
I'm not sure how the titles would vary greatly. If it's going to be a long form piece of content, obviously they might incorporate certain like verbs about watching versus reading. But other than that, I don't see how they would change drastically. But
it's pretty much going to give you the same thing regardless.
Yeah.
So then we're just going to read through these. You'd go through them one by one and say, okay, this one sounds good. I'm going to put it in a spreadsheet. Or maybe this one doesn't really hit the mark. It's not something I would talk about. It doesn't really go along with my business. So you're just going to go one by one, transfer the ones you like over to a spreadsheet to keep track of them. And we only asked for 20 here, but there's nothing that says you can't ask for 100 or 200 of these, and then really get a good list going that you can use well into the future. So
2 things. First of all, there is a maximum amount of content that ChatGPT will put out. So asking for something that's too long, you might not actually get it. But number 2 is if you ask for 20, like, let's look at this list. Let me just grab 2. The secret ingredient in your child's diet can change everything, and the incredible sleeping trick that will transform your child's nighttime routine. Those are 2 very different things. And you might say, I am not a registered dietitian. I probably shouldn't be commenting about what kids should be eating in their diet. But maybe I say, you know what, like this sleeping thing in children is something that interests me. So maybe I'd say, come up with 20 clickbait style blog posts about children and sleep. And it would expand further on that. So by doing this general and getting a short list, it might give you an idea of how you would want to expand that list based on this output that it gave you. But if it gave you an output of 200 to start with, it would be hard for you to go through that amount and narrow down from there.
From here on out, you're just going to pick individual titles, and then we're going to go through the rest of the steps. So the next step is actually to create an outline for one of these topics. Let's just go ahead and take number 6 here, the incredible sleeping trick that will transform your child's nighttime routine. I'm going to copy that. So now I'm going to type in.
I like that he is also staying away with commenting on things that children should and shouldn't be eating. We can all agree that we need sleep, right?
Okay, so I've just said now create an outline for an article, and I gave the title of the article, and I said write it as a professional childcare expert and write it for young moms. This is important to do. This is where a lot of people fall short when they're using ChatGPT. They don't give ChatGPT a point of view in order to, here's where you're coming at it from, and here's who you're writing it for. If you don't do that, it's going to come across very much like a term paper, just kind of from like an
it's going to sound really general.
Present view. So
you can also give it certain copywriting styles. You can use either individual writers, or you can say, use this particular persuasive copywriting style or something like that. You can give it direction in terms of a writing style if you don't want to be like, oh, this is just for young moms.
You really want to make sure it has that level of expert authority to it. So I'm going to go ahead and see what it comes back with. So again, all we're doing right now is coming up with the outline. It's not writing the entire article yet. And when it comes back with this outline, one of the things you can do is now is a good time to spot anything that you don't feel like belongs in the article, or anything you might do a different way, or any section you would just want to take out of it. And then you just ask for those requests at this stage once it's done spitting this out. Okay, so it wrote the whole outline now. So let's just see if there's anything that maybe we wouldn't want to include. Maybe this section 2 is just, it doesn't really get to the good stuff quick enough. You could definitely make that request here, or you could say replace it with something else. Maybe you have some expertise that you'd want to put in here. All you really need to do is speak to it like you're talking to a real person, a real copywriter. ChatGPT will understand your request. So let's just go ahead and pretend everything is good to go as is. Now we're actually going to get going on writing.
I think it's interesting he's not showing us how we ask for the edit and how we make sure the edit is made. Because sometimes with ChatGPT, you'll tell it to do something, and just like a person, it'll say it did it, but then not do it. So for example, another time that ChatGPT left me hanging, I gave it a portion of a transcript from a client's podcast, and I asked, hey, can you find the most interesting quote from this section? And it found a 2-sentence quote, and I was like, oh, this is great. And then I was looking for the transcript, and I asked ChatGPT, hey, where is this in the transcript? And it's like, oh, sorry, it's not there. So I think it's interesting that he's not showing how to interact with it in a way that you edit with it, because like he says, you talk to it like a person, but you have to talk to it in a certain way to get the results you want. So do I just say, please get rid of section 2 of this outline and regenerate, to make sure that it generates the outline just without section 2 in it? It would have taken him a couple more minutes to demonstrate this, but I think showing people how to give feedback to ChatGPT is something that would be important for a masterclass, even a beginner one.
Writing the article. So I'm going to type in. Okay, so I've written, now write the article, and here's where you'll tell it how to write it. Okay, this is where another area where a lot of people miss, and they don't actually ask for it to be done in a specific tone. And that's again how it can come across very much like a term paper, or just kind of an academic piece of writing, which is not what we want. We want it to be engaging, right? So I've said here, casual, friendly tone. You can also say humorous tone. You can even give it a famous person's voice, like write it in the style of Oprah or in the style of Alex Hormozy. And they have enough stuff online that ChatGPT can do a good job kind of mimicking that overall tone and style. So, but for here.
What's interesting is in the prompt, I don't know if he's going to talk about this, so I'm talking about it now while it's on the screen. Insert personal anecdotes and stories. The thing is, ChatGPT doesn't have what's called lived experience. So it doesn't have any anecdotes and stories. Any anecdotes and stories it would have would be taken from somebody else, and using, I guess, someone else's story without attribution seems icky to me, but I'll be curious how he talks about this.
Here, casual friendly, I think is good. And I've also said insert personal anecdotes or stories if they help illustrate a point. Again, very important to keep to keep your content feeling human. And the way we do that is through anecdotes. It's through
But one of the limits of ChatGPT is that it doesn't have a personal backstory. So I'll be really curious what the result of this is.
experiences, it's through stories. Now, the stories that this comes up with may give you a good jumping off point. And what I generally like to do is kind of replace the little stories that they come up with something similar from your experience.
Okay, he's using this to see where it would insert a story. I like how he's getting around this because I was a little bit concerned with that as a
Just to
prompt.
kind of really pull it into you. But they may be good to go as is. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. But you'll notice I said start with the introduction. What we're not going to tell it to do is just write the entire article. It doesn't do really well when you have it do that. It ends up being very short and very just super basic when you do it that way. So we're going to start with the introduction. Okay, so I'm not going to read through this whole thing, but you'll notice here, I might get rid of like where it says, hey there, fellow moms. Like, I don't think
I'm the cool mom.
any article really needs to start that way. It's an easy thing to delete. So we all know how vital a good night's sleep is for our little ones. It's essential for their growth, development, and overall well-being. But let's be honest, sometimes bedtime can feel like a battlefield with a mix of tantrums, tears, and endless requests for just one more story or a glass of water. I think that's extremely well written, and it feels like a real person wrote that, right? And then we've got an experience
Yeah, anyone who's ever put a child to bed is like, yeah, I identify with all those things.
here. You know, it said, I've tried and tested various sleep strategies over the years. Some were successful while others fell short. But this is by far the most effective method I've ever encountered. So that's where it feels like she's telling a story of something that's really worked for her. So I think it's right on the money so far. So here's what you do.
Okay, so call me old fashioned, but doesn't this feel like lying? This is where it starts feeling a little icky to me, is like pretending that I have experience that I don't have. And it would be one thing if it was like I had raised a few kids and I had done this sleeping thing and I would be letting ChatGPT generate this article and I would be going through and editing it and adding my own stuff. But as somebody who is not a childcare expert or mom, producing this article for my client without me having that experience feels gross. Let me know if I'm being overly precious here in the comments, but this is where it starts feeling a little icky to me.
From here, then you would say, now write section 2, and you're just going to go section by section, and you're just going to copy and paste everything into a Google Doc or a Word doc. And then by the end of it, you'll have your full article. What you're going to want to do is just basically fix any factual errors that you can see, add in your own stories and anecdotes like we talked about. Just really personalize it to make it feel like it came from you and your brand.
What I don't understand so far, and maybe he's going to get into it in the second half of this video, is part of ChatGPT's nature. And then recently, actually, they have released the fact that they're going to let people develop their own GPTs. So, for example, I could develop one just based on it reading, for example, my content or me giving it information that I had vetted. And then when I interact with it, it's coming at a certain baseline of knowledge that I have given it, right? So in this example, we have not really interacted with ChatGPT at all. We haven't given it any feedback. It hasn't gotten better for our use later on. What we're doing is saying, generate some topics and then generate an outline and then generate individual sections of the outline with a certain tone that is geared at a certain audience. So how is ChatGPT going to work better for us over time if we don't give it feedback? So maybe he's going to talk about how to give it feedback in this next one, but that's a big hole in this right now so far that I'm seeing.
Now let's move on to social media marketing. So this is one that can be especially daunting because you may feel a lot of pressure to create lots of content for social. But again, ChatGPT is a great tool to help you come up with the ideas and execute on them.
So it's going to be able to make a 60-second or less video that stars me in it. It's going to be able to make an image and a corresponding caption to that image. Oh, wait, it's not going to be able to do that because it's not there yet. Okay. I'm just pointing out that the most popular things on social media right now are short format videos. I don't get, other than helping me generate ideas, how it's going to help me do that task that takes me honestly a long time because a video takes longer than other kinds of content.
Ton of types of social content you could go with, from Instagram image posts to tweets. But what I want to focus on for now is probably the best single social media opportunity that you have right now, and that is short form videos that you can run on TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, Facebook, and even on Pinterest and LinkedIn. So here's the process. Okay, so just like with content marketing, what we're going to start with here is the brainstorming process.
I said, I want to see how he's going to handle video, and he's handling video. Kudos to you, my friend. I can't wait to see this.
So let's say you are a wedding photographer, and I would type in something like, help me brainstorm. I'm actually not going to do 100 right now because it's going to take too long, but you can ask for 100. I'm going to say, help me brainstorm 10 topics for Instagram Reels. You could also say, YouTube Shorts, TikToks, whatever I can make for my wedding photography business. They need to speak to brides in the process of planning their wedding. So again, you're giving the context of this is for my fill in the blank business, and these need to speak to this target demographic. It's going to help it way better, hit the nail on the head a lot faster. So let's go ahead and see what 10 it comes back with. Okay, so it gave us 10 really good choices here. So again, you're going to do the same thing. And I would highly recommend you ask for more like 100. So you can go through, put all the winners into a spreadsheet just so you have a ton to draw from. And then you're going to go one by one. You're just going to have it write all of these scripts one by one.
Starting off with 100 is kind of a lot. Using this time to get familiar with the tool and asking for a little bit at a time will allow you to understand what does and doesn't work for you and your business. So giving yourself less content to go through is better to help you generate better prompts. But what do I know?
So I'll just have it start with this one right here, how to create a wedding day timeline for perfect photos. Okay, so I just said write a 15 to 30-second script for how to create a wedding day timeline for perfect photos. Here's the important part, with no intro or outro, just get right into it, because otherwise it's going to do the whole thing where it's like, hey guys, welcome to this video. And you don't want that in these short videos. You just want to get
Yeah, that's a good tip. I like this.
Right to the point. So again, all you got to do is ask for that. Just get right into it and prioritize unique, actionable tips. So what that's going to do is it's going to make the tips ideally much more interesting and unique, not just the big things that everybody talks about. You want to make it unique, right? And then I said, write it in a higher energy, fun, casual tone. You can tweak that language however you want, but I think generally speaking for short form videos, high energy, fun, and casual is the way to go. So let's just see what this comes back with. Oh, and the other thing there too is what you might want to do is put in anything that you know personally. Like if you've got your own tips, I'm sure whatever topic you're going to write about, you're going to have your own ideas. Say, and be sure to include this, or be sure to add these 3 tips, and then it'll incorporate all of that. Okay, so this has done an interesting thing. It's added emojis, which you definitely don't need for a script. They're not gonna show you. You can't like talk it out. So, but I would still just copy and paste this into your Word doc. Just get rid of the emojis if they're included there, and I would get rid of the "Hey there, beautiful brides to be."
So something I want to bring up here is it says this is a short video length, but I'm wondering how long it would take to actually say these things. And if he doesn't go over it again after this, I might time myself saying this script and see how long it actually takes.
Again, you just want to get right into it, but at first glance, it looks pretty good. And you just put in your next topic, and I might actually say here, but no emojis. That's one of those things you can do. You can just kind of talk to it and just dial in anything in. If there's something it's doing you don't want it to do, just say, hey, don't do that this time. and then it'll get you a little bit closer. So in this use case, we use this to do those short form video scripts. This could have just as easily been tweets, post captions, anything.
Something to know is that when you give ChatGPT feedback, so like let's say I was interacting with it for like an hour. And let's say like the first thing I said to it is don't use the word don't. There we go, broke my own rule. But let's say I said that at the beginning and it's going through, and then you might notice half an hour in, it generated something with the word don't in it. And you feel like, did I forget to tell you not to do that? Am I losing my brain here? Like what's going on? And the thing is, it will forget sometimes the feedback you've already given it. So be prepared to say it again. If there's some rules that you wanted to always follow, you will have to repeat yourself. So be forewarned there.
Just ask it for exactly what you want in the tone you want, and include any specifics you want to make sure that it includes, and ChatGPT will handle the rest. Next, let's talk about how ChatGPT can help you with email marketing.
All right, I just spent an inordinate amount of time going through and screenshotting these so that I could read them while I'm timing myself. I'm going to put myself on the screen so that we can see the timer. Now, full disclosure, I have been accused of talking fast. So what I'm going to do is start the timer, and then I'm going to read it in what I think is a normal speed while showing you the timer. So that way I don't see it and try to read it faster. Okay. I'm going to start it and know that I'm going to subtract like 2 seconds from the beginning. Okay. Hey there, beautiful brides to be. Let's talk about creating a wedding day timeline for those picture perfect moments. First up, allocate buffer time. Add an extra 15 to 20 minutes to each photography session. This way you won't feel rushed and can enjoy those heartfelt moments. Next, prioritize golden hour. Schedule your couple's portraits during this magical time for romantic, dreamy shots. Sunsets are your best friends. Trust us. 3, don't forget your sneak away session. Set aside 10 minutes post ceremony for some intimate just married snaps before rejoining the party. It's a game changer. Lastly, coordinate with your photographer and planner. Keep everyone in the loop to ensure smooth transitions and a stress-free experience. Happy planning, and may your wedding be as picture perfect as you've always imagined. All right, that was under 60 seconds. I feel like I could have gone a little bit slower and I would have had a little bit more time. We can trust ChatGPT to make us short form scripts. Let's get back to the video. But I'm glad I tested it because I would have wondered.
Next, let's talk about how ChatGPT can help you with email marketing. So I make these YouTube videos here every week, and then I email my list about them. That helps me stay top of mind for them when it comes time for me to actually promote my paid program. And I really struggled with using AI to help me with those emails at first. They just came out super generic, and I'd pretty much just have to rewrite the whole thing. But I'm persistent, and I finally figured out a system that works pretty much every time. And for email marketing to work best, you really need to use a two-prong approach. Gary Vee calls it the jab, 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 right hook method, where you send out at least 3 helpful, value-packed emails. Then and only then do you send out one that's more promotional, asking for a direct sale. So for the jab emails, we're going to use what you've already got, the content you created with the help of ChatGPT. So whether we're talking articles, videos, or podcasts, your only job here is just to let your lists know that you created this super helpful thing, and here's why they want to read, watch, or listen to it. Okay, so let's say you're a moving company now, and you wrote an article helping families moving with their pets. So now your challenge is just to get people to want to read that article or watch that video. So what I would type in here is something like, why would a pet owner about to go through a move want to watch a video about moving with pets, how to keep your furry friends safe and happy during the move? This is an important first step. So we're just going to come and see, we're going to see what it comes back to us with. Because we want to really be able to capture what about this piece of content is going to intrigue people, because we're going to use that as basically incentive to get people to actually watch it. Okay, so it's given us all these reasons why a video like this would be helpful. Now we're going to go to the next step, which is to say, take that and write an email to families about to move, letting them know I made this video and why they should watch it. Make it short, to the point, and fun, personable in tone. So we could also say, in Alex Hormozy's voice or Oprah's style. And don't give everything
I don't know who Alex Hermosi is. Maybe I'll have to look into this person.
away. This is important. Build intrigue so people want to see what it's all about. Notice what I did there, because otherwise what it'll do is it'll say, here's why you want to watch this video. It's going to tell you this, 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 and this. You don't want it to do that. You want to build up that intrigue and curiosity so people actually have to read your article, watch your video. Remember, the email's only job, it's not to give them the help that your content gives them. Its only purpose is to get them to consume that content.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of this. And then let's see what it comes back with for the final email. Okay, so first glance at this, it looks pretty great. So it's even given us a subject line, which, you may want to choose to iterate on that. We can talk about that in a minute. But we have, hi there, fellow pet loving families. Are you gearing up for a big move? I've created this video. Here's the good part. Why should you watch it? Here's a little sneak peek. It has given nothing away, right?
Yeah.
It's literally it's building curiosity, expert tips and tricks, stress busting strategies, right? People will read that and they'll be like, okay, I need to know what those strategies are now. Travel prep secrets. So it's not giving any bit of this away. Now, again, you may want to do a little bit of a light rewrite to it, adding in your own personal anecdotes or stories. One more thing we can do here is actually say, great, now give me 10 intriguing subject lines. So you don't have to take the one that it gave you, because subject lines are really important. If it's not good, no one's ever even going to open it. So I definitely recommend taking this extra step. And I love that it's adding emojis here. This is a good place for emojis in a subject line. And already these are looking great. The top secret guide for moving with pets revealed. Don't pack your bags without these pet-friendly moving hacks. The ultimate checklist for moving with pets, don't miss out. These are great. So as you can see, it's really going to be your best friend when it comes to email marketing for sure. So that's how you'd write your jab emails. But what about the right hook? After you've let them know about your helpful content, now it's time to let them know that if they want to go deeper and get even more help, they can get it by working with you or buying what you're selling them. So here's how to prompt ChatGPT to help you get the most out of those emails. Okay, so this one's pretty straightforward. I've got kind of a long prompt here, and I'll walk you through it and why I'm saying everything I'm saying here. So we say, pretend you're an expert marketing copywriter specializing in writing persuasive emails. It's incredibly helpful and a really big ChatGPT hack to tell it who it's supposed to be, right? In this case, you're an expert marketing copywriter. It's going to take that and it's going to run with it. Using the PAS copywriting framework, which stands for Problem, Agitate, Solution, it's a really good framework for these kinds of sales emails where you bring up the problem someone has, you kind of agitate it with symptoms of the problem, then you bring in your solution. So that's why I've included that here.
If you don't like that idea, there is like literally over a dozen different copywriting frameworks. So don't think this is the only one. If it feels weird for you to agitate someone, if you're like, I don't know if I want to do that, just know that you have other options.
Write a sales email to families who are about to move and considering which moving company they want to choose. Obviously, you'd fill in the blanks for your own business and what they're going through, the problem they have. And then we can't wait to speak to them and help them decide if we're the best fit for their move. And now we're going to get into a few things that we bring to the table, right? That we would want to include here: competitive pricing, white glove packing service, best non-breakage guarantee in the business. So here's where you'd bring in your 3 best benefits, essentially. Make it friendly and helpful in tone, not too salesy. That's important. You want the overall tone of this email to not feel super salesy. You want it to feel like you're still helping them, but you can really help them when they pay you and they take you up on your offer.
Okay.
That's the general tone here.
Okay.
Use power words. There's certain words that are out there that are just known to really pique people's interest, and avoid overused cliches. Super important. If you use cliches that people have heard a million times, it falls on deaf ears and they don't even register it. So that's why we've said that. Then you want to specify what your call to action is. In this case, it's to schedule a free consultation and to get a quote. So this is everything we've got here, and I'm going to go ahead and let it do its thing. We've got a subject line again. And again, we can go back and iterate on that and have it generate 10 new subject lines if you'd rather. Okay, are you feeling overwhelmed as you're about to move your family to a new home? You're not alone. Moving can be one of the most stressful events in life, but it doesn't have to be. Okay, so what it's doing here, unfortunately, is remember how I said the PAS, problem, agitate, solution? It's actually like calling that out. We don't want that. We would delete those lines. We would just kind of let the story tell itself. We don't need to call out, this is the problem. This is me agitating the problem.
This is how I'm lightly manipulating you into buying something.
People will get it just as they read the email itself. Okay, so then when it's done, once again, you're just going to put it into a Google Doc. You're going to do a light rewrite of it, adding in your own little expertise, just kind of pepper it in with your own experience, and you should be good to go. And of course, the point of all this marketing content, whether it's your long form content like articles or your social media posts and your emails, are all funneling people back to your website where you can really sell your value. And of course, you need the right marketing message there to help you do that. And I've got all the best prompts you'll need to write a killer website, or at least improve what you have to connect to more people and help them become paying customers.
Oh, it's a free, okay. And his end screen has a free prompt playbook. I think that was a good training. I think calling it a masterclass is a little bit of a stretch. Obviously, the use cases he's talking about are within reach of somebody who's just starting to use ChatGPT. I think framing it like it's going to do all your marketing for you is, as you see, not accurate. You're still copying and pasting things into spreadsheets. You're still rewriting things in Word documents. You're still sourcing images to go with that text that it generated. You're still having to actually record the short form video. Wes McDowell knows what he's talking about. I want to look at his website though first as we close out and kind of see a little bit more about his background and see what kind of things he's going to try to sell us later on. We have a ChatGPT marketing prompts playbook, an ultimate Google ranking starter kit, and profitable Facebook ads for service businesses. Here's his private coaching page. He's here to help. You can book sessions online in his Calendly. You can spend $497 talking to him for 30 minutes or $997 talking to him for 60 minutes. I just clicked through an automated clients on demand website blueprint for business. This isn't a shortcut. Okay. And then his exact website system. It looks like it's free. This looks like my 1-day website class that I do, honestly. And I'm just curious what software his website is running in. It appears to be WordPress with the Elementor plugin, which is a drag and drop editor that's very popular with WordPress. So looking at him, it looks like he is mainly a website builder, but also does some marketing. It seems like he's a little heavier on the website building, like 60 to 70% website builds versus 30 to 40% marketing. That kind of makes sense. The skills do go together. I build websites and do marketing myself. So what I've kind of noticed in my own business is that during recessions, we do a lot more website development work. And during kind of more profitable times, we tend to do more marketing work. And I think the reason is because during recessions, people are like, oh, I'm already paying for my website. How can I maximize what I'm getting from it? I think that's the reasoning behind people wanting to put money into their websites instead of marketing during recessions. So I think you could definitely learn from Wes McDowell. I definitely learned a couple little nuggets in there. 2 things to keep in mind. Number 1, you'll notice that throughout that presentation, it was like, okay, and then you're going to copy this into a spreadsheet to work on it later. Or, oh, you're going to put this in a document and edit it later, right? We're kind of glossing over the parts that are going to take time. I get why he couldn't make it a long video showing all that because nobody would have watched it. But I want to acknowledge that this is the start of marketing and certainly not all of the marketing that you're going to do. And the second thing is that it does look like he works one-on-one with people, unlike some of these gurus. In terms of how Wes makes his money, it looks like he has a part of his website called a toolkit with a lot of affiliate links. And it also looks like he charges $1,000 an hour. So that's probably a little rich for most people's blood, but I can assure you that you can hire very competent people for a lower rate than that. One of them being me. So Anyway, I think you can learn from Wes. I do think that paying $1,000 an hour for someone's time is a little silly. So thanks so much for watching. If you have a guru you want me to react to, you can leave it as a comment on this video, or if you're more shy, you can use the contact form of our website, breakingeveninc.com/contact, to send us a private message. If you want to lightly keep in touch, our email newsletter is a great place to do it, breakingeveninc.com/newsletter. And I hope you consider sharing this video with somebody that you think could use it. YouTube doesn't quite know how to classify this channel. I am a small marketing business. I do commentary content about stuff like this. And I think YouTube genuinely doesn't know who to serve this content to sometimes. So if you have a friend or coworker or somebody who would enjoy my videos, I hope you consider sharing them. That would be greatly appreciated. Thanks so much for watching. And remember, these gurus will just keep on coming. But the good news is you have a friend, that's me, in the marketing business, who's not afraid to call them on all their bullshit. Take care.